Toronto Maple Leafs News Now fans. Hey Leafs fans! Before we dive into today's exclusive update, make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest Maple Leafs news. Now, let's get into it. Big news coming out of Toronto as Mitch Marner is reportedly intrigued by the idea of being traded to an Original Six team. NHL insider David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period shared this intriguing tidbit recently. Marner has been a hot topic in trade rumors ever since the Maple Leafs were knocked out in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. However, there's been buzz that Toronto might re-sign Marner instead. But here's where it gets interesting. On his TFP Monday Mix podcast, Pagnotta mentioned that Marner is particularly interested in a potential trade to the Chicago Blackhawks. My understanding is that Mitch would be intrigued about Chicago, Pagnotta said. Now, while Marner might be excited about the possibility, Pagnotta isn't convinced that the Blackhawks have the assets to pull off the trade. Personally, I don't see a fit. I don't know how they can maneuver that trade-wise, but I can tell you that Chicago is one of the spots that I believe, if they can figure out a deal somehow and the Leafs go to Mitch and say, "Hey, what do you feel about Chicago? We've got a deal here," I think he would waive his no-movement clause for Chicago. I think Mitch would say, yes. I think Chicago is attractive to him, Pagnotta added. Toronto, on the other hand, isn't looking for a trade package centered around draft picks and young players. The Maple Leafs want to stay competitive next season, which complicates things further since it's unclear what the Blackhawks could offer that would entice Maple Leafs GM Brad Treliving. Maple Leafs could re-sign Marner. Despite all the trade talk, there's a twist. Insider Darren Dreger revealed on TSN 1050's First Up that the Maple Leafs might actually prefer to re-sign Marner. Are we so sure Toronto doesn't want to extend Mitch? I'm not. I think Treliving would rather extend Marner than trade. But they're not having those discussions yet either. It's still early, it's very premature across the board, Dreger said. Dreger also noted that Marner's preference is to play out his contract with Toronto, even though there's a risk he could become an unrestricted free agent after next season. Marner negotiated his deal in good faith, including the no-move clause, indicating his commitment to the team. Toronto hasn't decided if they will trade Marner. Adding to the suspense, NHL insider Chris Johnston reported on the Chris Johnston Show that the Maple Leafs haven't made a final decision on trading Marner. The Leafs are not leaning on Mitch Marner right now. They have not decided 100% they have to trade him, and they're going to make life uncomfortable, and they're getting the list of names. None of that's what's going on, Johnston said. Last season, Marner recorded 26 goals and 59 assists for a total of 85 points in 69 games. In the playoffs, he had 1 goal and 2 assists in 7 games. So, Leafs fans, what do you think? Should Toronto trade Mitch Marner or focus on re-signing him? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Toronto Maple Leafs News Now for more updates.